Hello and welcome to Camp, the Catholic audiobook in a month podcast. My name is William Wilson, and today is day 12 of The Little Way of Spiritual Childhood by Father Gabriel Martin. I will be reading Chapter 5, Section 1, in the paperback that's page 45 through 49. We'll hear how, in this life, all is love, all proceeds from love, all ends in love. We see this in the life of Saint Thérèse. She was generous, she practiced renunciation, and she aroused herself to confidence. We also see this in holy childhood, where nothing is of any worth but to operate in love. Let's get started. Chapter 5. Love. The role and the importance of love in the little way. Its exercise. We here touch the vital point of spiritual childhood. What the heart is to the body in the physical life, love is to the soul in the spiritual life. It is the heart which vivifies all the members and all the organs of the body. It is love which, from the supernatural point of view, vivifies all the powers and all the faculties of the soul. If charity does not animate works, they are dead. On the other hand, as soon as it permeates them, it renders them living and meritorious. In that sense, we may compare charity to the sap of the trees. Wherever the sap circulates, there is life. Wherever it ceases, there is death. But the sap is not everywhere equally rich and vivifying. Its virtue is known by the abundance and the quality of the fruits, the most prolific tree of its kind always being the one in which the sap, more generous and better directed, reaches the fruits more abundantly to form and to nourish them. Section 1. Love. The distinctive mark of the holiness of Saint Thérèse is preeminently the virtue of children. Now, what constitutes the excellence of the life of spiritual childhood and its great supernatural fecundity is that love is its whole sap, and that this divine sap constantly tends to expand into flowers and fruits of virtue. In this life, all is love, all proceeds from love, and all ends in love. Not that the other virtues have not in it their own place and their own importance. We know that Saint Thérèse of the Infant Jesus neglected none of them, and that she practiced them all in an heroic degree. But in her, charity stood forth in the midst of the other virtues as a queen amongst her attendants. Charity held the scepter, it directed and governed all, or rather it begot, bore, and nurtured all the other virtues of which it inspired every act. Still, not in such a way as to take away from them their particular character, or to suppress the motives proper to each of them, but on every occasion it added to these a motive of love, which very quickly became the dominant motive of her conduct, and that made of her whole life one uninterrupted act of love. In that way there was in the fertile garden of her soul but one plot in which the flowers of all the virtues germinated, sprang up, and bloomed, and that was the choice parterre of love. Therefore all the flowers that sprang up in it, of whatever variety, were the flowers of love. Thus Thérèse was humble through conviction of her nothingness, but she was so still more through love of Jesus and to give him pleasure. To win thy love a child will I remain, and self-forgetting will delight thy heart. She was generous, because she understood that one must be so in order to attain to holiness. But she was so above all because when we love, we reckon not. She practiced renunciation, doubtless because it is a necessary condition for spiritual progress, but still more in order to show to Jesus the delicacy of her love. It costs us dear to give him all he asks, but what a joy that it does cost. Let us refuse him no sacrifice. He does so want our love. She aroused herself to confidence, of necessity through the feeling of her powerlessness, but also, and even much more, through the natural inclination of her childlike heart, for the child loves to trust. Besides, parents, if rich, refuse nothing to their child. It is my title of child, she said, that gives me all my daring. Confidence leads to abandonment, but love leads to it more perfectly still. In Saint Thérèse, love was the special form of abandonment, love that surrenders itself without reserve and without reckoning, because it is happy to surrender itself, seeing therein an especially refined manner of proving its tenderness. While yet very young, she had offered herself to the child Jesus to be his little plaything, a little ball of no value, that he might throw to the ground, toss about, pierce, leave in a corner, or else press to his heart, if it so pleased him. In a word, she wanted to amuse the little Jesus, and to give herself up to all his childlike fancies. As we see, the point of view of personal interest in no way enters into such an act of abandonment. One motive only inspires it, to give joy to Jesus, to give him pleasure at all cost. That is love indeed. So too is it with her zeal. Assuredly, the souls that are lost inspire Sister Thérèse with great compassion. But what she proposes to herself, especially in laboring for their salvation, is to give to our Lord more hearts to love him. There is one only thing to do here below, she would repeat, to love Jesus, to save souls for him, that he may be eternally loved. Finally, in her hope, what makes her heart thrill most sweetly is not the thought of the glory of heaven. She leaves that glory to her brothers, the angels and saints, as being due to them by right. For her part, it is love that attracts her towards her eternal home. Oh, to love, to be loved, and to come back to earth to make love loved. The spiritual life, thus understood, is truly a life of holy childhood, modeled on that of little children, in whom nothing is of any worth, nothing operates but love. Powerless for all else, the little one is capable only of loving. But he loves as he breathes, instinctively, without effort, and his love, which cannot manifest itself in important works, is at least conveyed by his every movement, by his smile, by his caresses and kisses, and even by his tears when, frightened or suffering, he presses more closely to his mother's heart. The child is love only, but he is all love. And is it not that which gives him so many charms in the eyes of his father and mother, and even of those who would pass by unheeding, but who cannot resist the attraction of his childlike smile? And it is that, too, which in Saint Thérèse has so gently ravished the heart of the good God that he has become, as it were, incapable of resisting her desires and her prayers. She herself was persuaded of this, and it was certainly her intention to convince us of it when, a few days before her death, she said, "I want to give my little way to souls. I want to make known to them the simple means that have so perfectly succeeded for me, to tell them that there is but one only thing to do here below, to cast down before Jesus the flowers of little sacrifices, to win him by caresses. That is how I have won him, and that is why I shall be so well received." In order that we too may be well received by Jesus, let us frequent the school of Saint Thérèse, so as to learn from her how we must desire, understand, and exercise love, to arrive like her at the perfection of love. That's all for today. I hope you enjoyed the reading. Tomorrow I will read Chapter 5, Section 2 and 3, on how we must desire love and accustom ourselves early to do all for love's sake. Also, in what consists the exercise of love. If you have enjoyed today's podcast, please subscribe, rate, share, and help us grow. Also, please check out oratebooks.com, now featuring a short method of mental prayer. In just 72 pages, Father Rodolfi provides a sure method for practicing Catholic meditation and mental prayer, available as a free PDF or in paperback. That's oratebooks.com. To learn more about us and for past episodes, please visit camp.fm. Thanks for listening, and I'll see you tomorrow.